안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to a brand new week with the Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-awards, K-diplomacy, K-everything. And before you know, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. We start off the week with our Monday co-host, Walter Lee. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello, everyone there. We are going to have a great day full of K-entertainment, so make sure you stick around for K-enter a little bit later.
All right, and we're also joined by Arirang News culture correspondent Song Yujin. Welcome, Yujin.
Well, hello, Soa. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Yujin.
And hello to all the viewers of the Culture Wave. I'm Song Yujin, Arirang News culture correspondent.
All right, so Yujin, what are you going to start us off today with?
Well, Soa, I think you gave a sneak peek. Today, I want to talk about K-cultural diplomacy. So back in May, I covered the opening of the South Korea-Italy Year of Cultural Exchange when I was in Rome, which is a celebration of the two countries' 140-year-long diplomacy. So with just over a month left in 2024, I sat down with the Italian ambassador to discuss how cultural diplomacy is bringing the two countries closer.
2024 has been an exceptionally busy year for Emilia Gatto, the Italian ambassador to South Korea. This year marks the 140th anniversary of diplomatic relations between South Korea and Italy, as well as the launch of their Year of Cultural Exchange project.
Everything is inserted in a certain, context of trying to promote relations between Italy and Korea.
A variety of events, ranging from photo and painting exhibitions to traditional dance and opera performances, have been taking place in both Korea and Italy. Having served in Korea for just over a year, Ambassador Kato says she has been consistently amazed by the similarities between the two countries.
They are really very passionate people, people who love culture, but really so much. Love culture, love art, have a lot of curiosity. So I always say that to me, Koreans are a sort of the Italians of Asia.
This shared passion, she explains, forms the backbone of the relationship between the two countries.
We are countries that consider culture as, part of ourselves. So, and culture may have also function to relax, and relax relations, relax moments of the culture to create the better condition for diplomacy, for relations, for knowing each other better.
Among the many cultural exchange programs, the exhibition, The Master of Light, Caravaggio and His Descendants, stands out. Currently on display at the Seoul Art Center, it brings a significant collection of works from one of Italy's most renowned artists to Korea.
After Leonardo and Michelangelo, more or less, we have Caravaggio in Italy. And this is the first time that we succeed to bring in Korea a very large amount of original paintings of Caravaggio and of the Caravaggeschi.
While these exchanges have already brought Italian art, history, and cuisine closer to Koreans, and Korea's K-pop and K-beauty closer to Italians, Ambassador Kato believes there's still much more to explore.
For us, this is a moment of opportunity to show you this aspect of our culture that is very strong. Basic science research. You can catch this opportunity to let people know about your ancestral culture, your heritage. I don't think there is another country where a language, the writing was fully invented.
Looking ahead, Ambassador Kato sees her role as more than just representing Italy in Korea. She hopes she can serve as a bridge connecting her home country and the country she's always wanted to work.
I wish also to be Korean ambassador to Italy. I want to find the good things of Italy, to promote them in Korea. And I want also to detect the fantastic things that you have, which are many, in Korea, of Korea, that I'm sure Italians would love if they knew it better. Grazie to you. 감사합니다.
I love how Ambassador Gatto mentioned how she thinks that culture may function to relax, which is so true. I mean, isn't that what we want the Culture Wave viewers also to do when they watch our program?
I especially agree, and I think her comparison between obviously Korea is like the it's very similar to Italy, and also because it's structurally also very similar was a very good comparison as well.
And also, speaking of relaxing and relaxation, Eugene, you mentioned the Caravaggio exhibition as one of the highlights of South Korea and Italy's cultural, cooperation or exchange program this year. So could you tell us a little bit more about that exhibition?
Right, so the exhibition, which is titled The Master of Light, Caravaggio and His Descendants, it features 57 artworks by Caravaggio and his followers, that is, artists who were influenced by his artistic style, and other prominent Italian artists from the 17th century Baroque era. And notably, 3 pieces by Caravaggio, The Incredulity of St. Thomas, The Taking of Christ, and The Tooth Puller are being showcased in Korea for the first time. So for more information, you can check out the Seoul Art Center's official website.
Your pronunciation is spectacular, Eugene.
Thank you. I practiced it a lot.
You practiced a lot. And what can we look forward to next year?
Well, as the South Korea-Italy Year of Cultural Exchange expands until next year, I think that there will be quite a lot to expect. So according to Ambassador Kato, there might be some iconic art exhibitions next year as well. She hinted potentially an exhibition on Leonardo da Vinci. So I can just say that at this moment, there is still a lot to look forward to next year.
Da Vinci, one of my favorite. So gracias, Eugene, for that.
Grazie, Soha.
And hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Anytime.
Thank you, Eugene.
And time for K-Inter News with Walter Lee. Walter, we couldn't start off this new week without talking about the biggest K-pop awards of the year, Mama.
Exactly. So it was a full 2 days of the Mama Awards, both in Japan and in LA. And here are just some of the results that I've got for you. Now, 17 for the second year in a row has won the grand prize of them all. Artist of the Year. Now, holding back tears, Uji, one of the members of 17, said, "They say imagination has no limits, but winning this grand prize for 2 years in a row was beyond something that they could even imagine," which is a beautiful little sentiment to their 2 years in a row. Now, 17 also received a Best Male Group and also Album of the Year with the 17th Heaven. Now, girl group aespa, they also took away the Best Female Group and Song of the Year with Supernova. And of course, we can't go anywhere without mentioning BTS a little bit. And Jimin, who also received one of the main awards, which is the Fans' Choice of the Year award, while Jungkook achieved a triple crown as well.
Congratulations to all of them, and also worth mentioning Tuwasu and Eyelid and IU, among many, many more achievements. But Walter, we're now going to move on to boy group ATEEZ. What do you have for us?
Yes, we did talk about ATEEZ not too long ago with their recent 11th mini album, Golden Hour Part 2, which came out on November 15th. Now, we got some great news for ATEEZ, or the fan group that they're called, because the album has claimed the #1 spot on the US Billboard 200. Now, ATEEZ has recorded 179,000 album sales, plus 5,000 streaming equivalent albums, which we'll actually talk about a little bit later, which had the importance, totaling about 184,000 units. Now, this marks the highest first week album sales in the US for the group. Now, ATEEZ have been doing so well on the Billboard 200 charts as they made headlines last December by earning their first number one on the Billboard 200 with their second full titled album, the world EP Finn Will. Now, with the Golden Hour Part 2 making the number one spot, this puts them within a very small group of artists who have achieved a milestone of having 2 number ones on the Billboard charts back-to-back years.
Wow, great achievements. Now, Walter, our final story is about some news that many people who came across it yesterday were very surprised of.
Yes, even our correspondent Eugene, who's told me earlier that she was lying in bed and she was very, very surprised to see this while she was lying in bed. But a statement made on Sunday about the 51-year-old famous Korean actor Chung Woo-sung and his agency came out with a statement. It surprised many fans, but it was confirming that Chung is the biological father of model Moon Kabi and their son. So this has sparked interest in the public whether Chung will actually come out and publicly address this situation, as he is set to attend the Blue Dragon Film Awards on Friday, which will be his first public appearance since the announcement was made.
Right, and where he is nominated for Best Actor for his performance in 12/12 The Day or Seoul의 봄, which is one of the actor's most recent movies he's known for.
Yes, it's very interesting because it was a very well-renowned movie, but will this overshadow the movie? That's an interesting question. So reports say that the two first met at a gathering in 2022 and had a casual relationship, and it started from there. Now, Jung reportedly pledged to take responsibility for raising the son, but not tie the knot with Moon. Now, reports indicate that he was involved in the choosing of the baby's prenatal name and discussing postnatal care arrangements as well. Now, Moon gave birth to her son in March, but didn't make a public announcement until November 22nd, and she is focusing on being a mother.
Let's see whether we will have some remarks by Chung later this week.
Yes.
But until then, thank you for those K-Enter News, Walter.
Thank you very much.
And now it's time to go over to our AI anchor Ari for other culture-related news.
Welcome to the Culture Wave AI News. I am Ari, here to guide you through the latest news and events in Korea's cultural scene. Here's our first story of the day. Culture Minister Yoo In-cheon held a meeting with his Chinese counterpart, Soon-Yi Lee, in Shanghai over the weekend. The two discussed ways to boost bilateral cooperation across various areas in the culture sector. They agreed to institutionalize regular Seoul Beijing high-level and working-level talks to promote active exchanges with a particular focus on the arts content and tourism. This marked their first meeting in 6 months since they met at the official dinner of the Korea-Japan-China Summit in May. The Seoul Museum of History is hosting a special exhibition amid hopes of Korea securing the country's second Summer Olympic Games in 2036. The exhibition revisits highlights from the 1988 Seoul Olympics, showcasing official souvenirs, promotional materials, records from the opening and closing ceremonies, and much more. It also reflects Korea's remarkable transformation over the past half-century since the 1988 Summer Games. The exhibition runs until March 9 next year. Korean Culture Month, celebrated at Argentina's largest cultural center throughout this month, is drawing great enthusiasm from locals. The event features a variety of Korean cultural activities held simultaneously across the venue, including kimchi-making workshops, arts programs for children, and traditional performances such as Talchung, or Korean mask dance. Enthralled by K-pop and K-dramas, many visitors have expressed a desire to learn Korean and visit Korea in the future. That does it for today. I'll be back with more tomorrow. See you then.
정성이 더 있을까 따뜻한 햇살이 비추는 장 위에 누워 우주의 끝을 바라본다
Gone are the days when we downloaded our favorite songs onto our MP3 players, not to mention listening to CDs and cassette tapes. Most of us log into music streaming platforms to get access to all the latest songs you can listen to online over and over again. Nowadays, it's not difficult to spot K-pop artist songs on top global streaming services like iTunes and Spotify. Today, we want to delve into these platforms that appear to be an important indicator of K-pop's global influence. We are now connected to Professor Sidabo Seiji at Busan National University. Good to see you again, Professor Seiji.
Hello, Professor.
Good to see you, Walter.
So let's begin with the latest top rankings of K-pop acts and their songs on major international streaming platforms. Who's currently up high?
Well, of course, Rosé and Bruno Mars are still doing great. And Jimin's Who is maintaining a really high spot, number 5 on Spotify Global Top 50. So very proud of that. Jin's Running Wild at number 11. And Rosé's Number 1 Girl has now been released and it's rising up the charts at 31. Jennie's song together with The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp is holding on near the bottom of the 50. And so if we look at some other charts, we can see similar artists showing up on other charts. Apple Music's Top 100 Global. We can also see aespa's Quiplash and Misamo, if we want to count that song in Japanese as K-pop, is also there on the chart. And other charts, we can see Jennie's Mantra is still there. Lisa's Moonlit Floor, G-Dragon's Power, even Jungkook and Lotto 7 is still on some charts. So lots of K-pop is available on these streaming charts, and it's pretty easy for fans to find.
I mean, in the past, you could see many of those acts having those one-time achievements on these big charts, but these days we're seeing so many of them continuously still on the charts, so I think that is significant. But how important is it really to be ranked on certain streaming platforms?
Well, for a lot of casual listeners, it's common just to listen through the top songs. But even if you don't listen through the top songs to find out what's come out, the algorithm actually rewards songs that are doing really well, and it amplifies their reach to new listeners. Of course, every platform uses listener history. So if you usually listen to heavy metal, they're probably not going to give you a K-pop song. But if a song is doing well on a streaming platform, the platform will automatically serve up that same song to listeners that, based on their history, may enjoy the song. And so people are getting introduced to K-pop casually without even meaning to at this point.
I see.
Yes, so Professor, I was talking in my K-Enter segment about ATEEZ and how well they're doing in the streaming at the moment. Have these streaming platforms actually played an important role in the global spread of K-pop?
Oh, it's absolutely undeniable that global streaming has played a huge role in K-pop's spread, mostly because in the past it was really hard for people outside of East Asia to access hard copies of releases. Like, they literally were not carried by resellers outside of East Asia. And even after the hard copy era ended, before the rise of platforms like YouTube and Spotify with a global reach, you wouldn't even necessarily know that there had been a recent release, much less be able to find it. So I remember actually when it was newsworthy, it would be in the Korea Times or the Korea Herald if a K-pop artist was being sold on iTunes, because not all of them were. So with this streaming, a new K-pop release is like 1 or 2 clicks away from potential listeners. And YouTube has been phenomenal for K-pop because the stunning visuals in K-pop videos really can hook people in. You know, if you look at YouTube right now, the top 20 songs for yesterday, top 20 videos, 7 of them were K-pop songs, including some of the live recordings from the Mama Awards ceremony.
It's really interesting. Recently, we've been observing how songs released by K-pop stars tend to be shorter in length than in the past. Example, G-Dragon's Power, as well as Jennie's Mantra. Is that also due to the influence of streaming platforms, do you think?
Well, before I answer that question, just a little bit of music history trivia. The whole reason that songs are usually 3 to 5 minutes is because when they made records in the very early days of recording, you had a single side record and it could only hold about 3.5 minutes worth of music. And so that became the norm because of technological limitations. But then after kind of radio took over as being the primary way that music got out there, radio would edit songs and make them shorter, make them around 3 minutes in order to leave time for advertisements. So there's a lot of different factors going into the length question. But if we look at like the songs getting shorter, it's not just K-pop, it's all of the songs that are getting shorter. The influence of TikTok and short form video can really be felt because it feels like these days it's like 15 seconds of the song really matters because of the dance challenge or it being recycled in other videos, and the rest of it is less important. But specifically streaming, if a song is played all the way through the song, it ranks higher in the algorithm. So if you have like a long intro to your song, which may then mean that the song is more than 3 minutes long, it in fact increases the skip rate, which is risky and can end up costing you financially as an artist. And so the artists are being incentivized to make songs that are shorter, that don't have any fat around the edges, and that keep listeners engaged. And if you look at the Spotify hit songs from 2023, half of the hit songs were under 3 minutes, which is proof that on streaming platforms, a shorter song really does better.
That is very interesting. And speaking of strategies, not only the length of a song, do you think that streaming services actually changed the release of songs and albums, especially on the back of the popularity of K-pop overseas?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know, initially when we had the possibility of digital releases, artists felt kind of freed from the need to create this whole long album, which might include some filler songs that were a little less inspired. But the industry also has really enjoyed this shift because time to debut is shorter, and the time between comebacks has also become shortened as well because you could just release, you know, singles. This is something that a lot of K-pop fans definitely appreciate, but I do think that there's a downside in that the full-length album allows artists to explore other sides of themselves and to release songs that may not be geared to become large hits, but maybe dearer to their own hearts and the direction that they want to move as artists. And so I am a little sad about what I see as the slow extinction of the album.
And how has fandom culture or the way K-pop fans consume music been impacted by streaming?
Well, streaming services and desire to stay on top of these different services has really caused the companies to lean into the organized, highly motivated fan clubs. And, you know, fan interest in a new track can give it this algorithmic boost that it needs to get played by the algorithm for people who aren't ordinarily K-pop listeners. And K-pop fans are very well aware of the impact of charting on their favorite idols, and they work really hard to make these goals happen. If you see something like ATEEZ having this new release, you can also see organized campaigns on social media where fans are saying, okay, this is our goal, this is a country in which we need to make that goal. And, you know, they're congratulating each other and they're going after these these goals of a certain amount of album sales, a certain ranking on the charts. And I know fans who keep an old cell phone constantly plugged in and constantly streaming playlists that include many of their favorite artist songs around the clock 24/7. So it's not even always completely organic listens.
All right, Professor Seiji, finally, do you believe there is a need for a strategic shift for K-pop artists as well as their production companies in this streaming-driven market to further strive?
Well, I actually, as the spouse of an independent musician, I'm really worried about the emphasis on streaming. I see how bad it is for artists. It's also bad for the environment. But the payout to artists is absolutely horrible. Just a small fraction of what artists earn from selling albums or even selling MP3 files. So the average payout for a stream is less than 1/10 of 1 US cent per stream. So less than 1/10 of 1 Korean won. To put it in simple terms, if an artist receives 100% of the revenue for streaming, which they don't, because there's a songwriter, an agency, a music distributor, musicians, producer, all these other people. But if they receive 100% of the money, they need around 2.4 million streams per month to earn the average monthly salary of an office worker in Korea. But since all the artists on a track, including the musicians and the backup singers, only earn about 15% of the payout from the track for streaming, divided by the number of singers and musicians, you can easily imagine that members in like a 5-person group are going to earn less than 3% of the payout per stream. And I just told you the payout per stream is less than 1/10 of 1 US cent. So, and it gets worse. Like the payout per stream varies based on the country of the person who is streaming and if they're a premium subscriber or not. And the payout to artists is not consistent for all artists. In fact, it pays out more to bigger artists, except for in France, which passed a law in 2022 requiring all streams from all streaming services to pay the same amount per song. But yeah, the entire system is kept really hard for lay people to understand, and artists have non-disclosure agreements, and so they can't really complain about how little they're earning. But as fans just go with the convenience of streaming, we're actually seeing a cost to the artists. So on behalf of the artists, I want to remind fans that your favorites will benefit more if you purchase albums. And if you do continue streaming, I would like you to investigate which streaming services pay the most to the artists, because they don't pay out at the same rate.
Definitely something to keep a mind on. Thank you very much, Professor Seiji, for your insights on this interesting topic today.
Thank you, Professor.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks. And that brings us to the end of Monday's edition of the Culture Wave. Walter, thank you for starting off the week with us.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
All right, and thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Hope your week will be filled with lots of joy and maybe lots of K-pop. For more on everything K-culture, please join us again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Korea time.